How is it going, everyone? Got some updates on the future of Digimon and Digimon story titles. It was a long period of waiting in between major Digimon story releases. You had to wait, what was it, 7, 8 years in between Hacker's Memory and Time Stranger, but it looks like Digimon as an IP will be growing and growing, and we have some updates on that. But first of all, Digimon Story Time Stranger came out to a lot of fanfare. It did amazing numbers, commercially did very well, breaking expectations and reaching sales targets earlier than expected. Well, now, Ryosuke Hara, Time Stranger's producer at Bandai Namco, and Yusuke Tomono, the game's director at 24 Fame, had some good news for fans when it comes to the IP's future, noting we're currently placing a strong emphasis on collaboration with Toei Animation and other affiliated companies when it comes to Digimon content. Through these efforts, we aim to grow the Digimon IP as a whole while continuing to put effort into games. Regarding the development time, he notes that this time it took us 8 years, but the Digimon team is now gradually expanding in scale and working on establishing a structure that'll allow us to grow in a substantial way. And the team already has various things in mind, and Hara encourages fans to look forward to future Digimon releases regarding the nature of future games. Tomono commented that Time Stranger was developed with the goal of presenting Digimon in a way that would be appealing to a broader player base, including adults, and for subsequent products, he says that he would like to aim for something new again, like a Digimon game that could serve as an entryway for people who aren't familiar with the franchise at all. And I think there's a lot of depth as far as what they can offer thanks to Automaton Media for that piece of news, and there's a lot that they could do with Digimon as an IP and the future. Obviously, they've got the anime airing right now. Digimon Story Time Stranger, the story franchise, I do believe will be their pillar RPG franchise series where you'll see a game every hopefully 4 to 5 years. You know, game development times are a little bit crazy, but if we could take that 8-year timeline and bring it down to 4 to 5 years, I think that would work pretty well. Beyond that, they do have opportunities after releasing Digimon Story. Well, now there's more attention on Digimon. Why not do some smaller scale titles that could still do okay? Digimon Survive, for example, I really did enjoy that game, and there's opportunities to do other titles within the Digimon universe. I think people do want more Digimon, and I don't think it's going to be a case of Digimon getting as big as Pokemon, but if you focus on your own lane, create quality content, I just think the rest will take care of themselves. What I am disappointed by is Digimon Story Time Stranger did such a good job of building a lot of consumer goodwill. It was a great game that a lot of people enjoyed. Unfortunately, what I am not a fan of is, and it might not be with the development studio, it might not be with anybody that talked in that piece of news that I covered, but the fact that the DLC is as mediocre as it is, and you baked it into the deluxe edition, and people spent an extra $30 to get that DLC, and only episode 1 is out thus far, Alternate Dimension, but that was like 2-3 hours worth of content. 191 Steam user reviews, 40% of those reviews are positive, contrasting to 6,798 reviews on Steam for the main game. 94% of those reviews are positive. I know in the grand scheme of things, it's ultimately not gonna matter, and the toothpaste is out of the tube once you start selling the DLC, but what I've noticed, and Bandai Namco does this so often, is the DLC that's being baked with these deluxe editions, a lot of the times those DLC, it's absolute trash or it's mediocre at best. A lot of the times that ends up being the case. And I do believe, because there is that aspect of it being perceived, and it may even be cut content, because guess what? The content's coming out a couple of months after the release of the game. It's not like they're selling the deluxe edition and they're like, okay, we sold X amount of deluxe editions, now we can tailor the budget for the DLC based on how many deluxe editions or ultimate editions we sold. That's not what's happening. The game comes out 3 months later, 2 months later, the DLC is dropping, and they pretty much had it done in the sense of, okay, the DLC is just gonna be 2 hours of content. We're not gonna be transparent with you guys and let you guys know that, but that is one thing I'm not a fan of. That's the one blemish I feel like in the handling of Time Stranger's release, and maybe that's more of a Bandai Namco thing as they're trying to juice more revenue out of these games that are expensive to create, but you don't want to up the base price of $70. So what can we do? We can up the price of the deluxe edition. We can say, oh, we got the season pass content that we're actually not going to try very hard on, and then we'll get that out there as content for the game. game and get people to spend $100 instead of $70. Again, that's the one minor blemish with the game, and it might not even be minor. That might be a big deal, and we'll see how Bandai Namco does with Code Vein 2, because I'm really curious after the mediocre Episode 1 DLC. We'll see if Episode 2 and 3 changes things, but Episode 1 was fairly mediocre as far as reception is concerned. Hopefully with Code Vein 2, maybe they'll do decent DLC, but it's just not a Bandai Namco thing. Look at how Starfield was received with Shattered Space, and think about how much time was in between Starfield coming out and Shattered Space coming out, and Shattered Space was a mediocre received piece of DLC. Just a lot of the times, whenever you have these deluxe editions that bake in the DLC, it just doesn't turn out all too well. But I digress. Tangent over on that. That's the one thing hopefully in the future they'll course correct on, or just create. If you want to do DLC, fine, just make the DLC worthwhile, especially if you're charging a $30 premium, and we'll see how Episode 2 and 3 turn out. But the game itself, Time Stranger, was an incredible game. I just love the game, and a lot of the times these days, I'm not going for 100% completions in game. I'm not doing absolutely everything, but with Time Stranger, I did everything. All the side quests, and a lot of the side quests were mid as well, but you kind of had to do them with the agent rank being tied to that, tying to the Digivolutions in the game as well. But man, the game was just so much fun to play, and narratively it was really strong. The only thing I haven't done is gone back and played the game on Mega Plus, and I probably won't do that because I'm old and washed up. I'm not trying to play a game on super hard difficulty, but yeah, the game was fantastic, and hopefully with the future of Digimon, we can open up the path to a lot of different projects. There's opportunity to remaster some of those older games. I believe on GOG, one of the top games that people want preserved is the original Digimon World. There'd be a lot of money in that. You know, some of those older Digimon World titles, Digimon World DS, those games getting preserved somehow, I think there would be a lot of interest in that, so hopefully that does come to fruition. But beyond all of that, I think they've laid the infrastructure of what Digimon RPGs can go and become in the future, and I'm not saying we gotta get one every year or every 2 years, but every 5 or so years to take the time to craft a well-done story, because that's one thing I think people will say about Story Time Stranger over and over again, is that this was a gripping and engrossing narrative from start to finish, with plot twists and how things turned out, and it got very dark, man. You go through some of the sections in this game, it got very, very dark from a narrative standpoint, and Digimon has had a track record of doing that, but seeing that executed in Story Time Stranger, and executed pretty damn well, that was great to see as well, and I think a lot of people were taken aback by that, especially if you're a bit newer to Digimon and you were just expecting something akin to Pokemon, and then you're like, wait a second, what's going on here? What just happened to this Digimon? What did this Digimon just do? You know, it was a lot of that I heard from the more casual, so I just thought they handled the game mostly well outside of the DLC issue. But it looks like Digimon is at a very healthy place, and if you guys don't know, the game has done incredibly well from a commercial standpoint, cracking 1 million copies sold fairly quickly, 80,000 or 83,000 concurrent peak players on Steam, which for a game like this is incredibly impressive. It is just shy of Metaphor ReFantazio from being the most played, based on concurrent player count, JRPG in Steam history. That's a pretty big deal, beating out a lot of games that have come out, beating out, you know, Persona 3 Reload, beating out, you know, on a delay, but Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, and so on and so forth. Just great stuff there. But that'll do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. As always, sound off there. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.